Some of us may be full from Thanksgiving dinner, but none of us are done asking questions about Bitcoin or learning about blockchain technology. Now, if you're paying attention, then you may know that many smart people are predicting a $100,000 Bitcoin very, very soon. And if you believe in the future of Bitcoin and blockchain technology, then you should care about running a full node yourself. And if you want to take full advantage of the Bitcoin freedoms, features, then you also care about running your very own full node as well for BTC. And if you care about decentralization from Bitcoin Core or with Bitcoin Core, then you may also be interested in learning about Bitcoin knots. All that and more, let's discuss. Hey everybody, I'm Gary Palmer Jr., you're you, and together, welcome to Minting Coins. So there is a lot of excitement, a lot of people getting fresh off from the Thanksgiving day, the gratitude day, this gratitude week that we all have where we are being extra mindful for the things in the world that we are grateful for. I'm sure that a lot of people out there, a lot of people watching this channel are grateful for Bitcoin and blockchain technology. And I wonder how many of your family members are grateful for you for learning about Bitcoin, for learning about blockchain technology. Maybe you helped some of your family members get connected with a Bitcoin wallet, helping to increase the awareness, increase the adoption, which is going to help the people in your community and, also help you as a Bitcoin holder yourself. And with that, people get started in a Bitcoin space, usually with a Coinbase wallet, which really isn't a wallet because it doesn't allow you to access and control and manage your own private keys. It's more of a traditional bank, I suppose. But then there's also Jax wallets and Trezors and Ledger Nano S's and all sorts of options out there. While all of these options have advantages and disadvantages, none of these options are really the same thing or quite like the same thing as running a Bitcoin full node, Bitcoin, downloading the full Bitcoin blockchain and using the Bitcoin Core, Bitcoin knots, as we're going to learn about, as your wallet, and really allowing you to take advantage of all of the features, all of the benefits, while also assuming potentially some of the risks. And so we're going to talk about that as well. So with that being said, why don't we pop into the market, take a peek around to see how we're doing, look at the news, and then let's discuss. All right, so starting over here at the coinmarketcap.com, living in a world with over 1,324 different cryptocurrencies, we are at a market capitalization that is in excess of $250 billion. We currently have $261.8 billion in the total market capitalization of Bitcoin, 24-hour trading volume, whopping $14 billion, just a lot of money. I don't know if I've ever seen that much money being traded in the cryptocurrency space. And what this means, where this all plays out, is that the Bitcoin dominance has been slowly decreasing over the past week or so, all the way down, still above 50%, but at a 52.3%. Over the course of the summer, we were looking at a Bitcoin dominance that was in the mid 40s, give or take. I think we saw it as low as 38%. I think it's very, very reasonable that we can see the Bitcoin dominance shrink all the way, down into the lower 40s easily, right? And it could definitely go even below that into the 30s as the amount of currency that, fiat that comes into the market increases, swells up into the Bitcoin and Ethereum, and then inevitably all of these investors, a lot of these people are going to be seeking about taking those digital cryptocurrency assets and then converting them into any one of these, over 1,000 other different cryptocurrencies, some of which have utility, some of which have promise, and most of which have the opportunity for making money in terms of the pumps and the dumps that are happening. Huge amounts of risk, not something that I advise any of you, but nevertheless, it's going to swell open the entire cryptocurrency market space as we increase, from $250 billion total market capitalization to $1 trillion, and then Bitcoin alone increasing from over that 0.1 trillion, and then Bitcoin alone moving into a quarter trillion market capitalization by itself. Ethereum has also been increasing over the $400 all-time highs into the all-time high territory above 450, 456 to be exact. Bitcoin Cash going up. The entire market is going to increase. It's going to decrease. It's going to increase, but it's going to continue increasing in that upward trajectory. That's what we're predicting. So none of this is market advice. Got to make your own decisions. And everyone needs to make their own decisions. And so you probably were talking with some of your family last night. Conversation came up, probably around Bitcoin. Really love to know, what did your family say about that? Did you bring it up? Was there anyone that already heard about it? Did you convert anybody? Did you sign anybody up for a wallet? Let us know in the comments below. I'd love to know your stories and what happened. CNBC talking more about this. Maybe your family has heard about Bitcoin on the news and Bloomberg and CNBC. CNBC had this poll. If people had $10,000, what would they rather put it in, Bitcoin or the stock market? And, this is a non-official poll. 71% of the people said Bitcoin. A lot of people are looking at Bitcoin. I'm getting more and more people reaching out who I have known in the past, more and more people who I am becoming friends with in the future, who I don't know, previous, who are asking me about Bitcoin, who are asking me about blockchain technology, more and more people who are becoming interested in trusting their money in blockchain technology instead of the traditional stock market, which is already at all-time highs. And it's not just millennials, it's not just young people, it's not just Generation Xers, it's not just baby boomers, but this is also wealth managers being bombarded with questions from investors, people with money seeking to invest this money, diversify their money, and all sorts of requests to buy Bitcoin. A lot of people are looking at Bitcoin, and the herd is coming, a flood is coming. Everyone is starting to pay attention and to pay attention. And to pay attention, because now is the time to pay attention, because things are going to increase very quickly, very dramatically over the course of 2018. And it's not going to end there as we get closer and closer into the next Bitcoin halving in the summertime of 2020. Things are going to get very intense and very exciting and very volatile as a lot of money continues to enter this space with exceeding pace. And so here we have someone on Reddit who is very happy to let the world know that, that this day when they posted this, a full node was born. And this full node has downloaded the full Bitcoin BTC blockchain and has downloaded the whole blockchain, the entire history that's ever existed since 2009. And is currently downloading every transaction that happens on the blockchain into this one computer, and then broadcasting that back out into the world. And then this is an example of a full node. This guy has one, I have one, you might have one, and if you don't have one, why don't you have a full node? What's stopping you from running a full node? There's a couple reasons that you might not have a full node. Completely legitimate, completely real reasons why you might not have one. But if you do have the resources to have one, then why don't you have one yet? A lot of people worry about the electricity. We hear a lot about the electricity of all these miners and all these people running full nodes in the world. And, this was an interesting meme that casinos, pro sports, Hollywood, social media sites, NASCAR, endless wars all waste energy and nobody panics. Bitcoin uses energy to provide security for the interplanetary-wide currency system, then everyone loses their freaking minds. People just, trying to attack Bitcoin for whatever reason they can attack Bitcoin. This does use a certain amount of energy, but anything that has either a reward or a benefit is going to cost some amount of electricity, right? You have the lights on in your house, you have the internet on, you have the router on, the TV, the computers. These are being used for a purpose in your life. And if Bitcoin is on, then what is that purpose that Bitcoin is on in your life? And if Bitcoin is not on in your life, if you're not running your full node, then you just need to ask yourself, what are you losing out on? What are the risks of you not being part of this system and being part of the process of what's happening in the world? And so what is a full node? So real quickly, a full node is a program. It's just a program like you would install any program on your machine. You go to the website, you click the link, you download it, you install it, and then you tweak it, you use it, and you learn more about it. And so it's simply a program that validates transactions in blocks. Almost all full nodes help the network by accepting transactions in blocks from other full nodes, validating those transactions in blocks, and then relaying that information from them further to other full nodes. And so most full nodes also serve lightweight clients, and then these nodes help other websites do their job. So if you're using a Jax wallet, for example, your Jax wallet is not a Bitcoin full node. It's just a light wallet where you are only receiving the transactions that people are sending to you, and you're only sending the transactions that you want to send from your wallet. In terms of that Jax wallet validating the Bitcoin blockchain, it's looking at other full nodes. Maybe those full nodes are specified, but it's looking at those full nodes for the blockchain data to help you send and receive that information. But that's not you running your own full node, and so you're not getting the benefits or providing the services that having that full node entails. And so there's definitely costs and warnings to be aware of. And if you click on this link in the show notes below over at bitcoin.org, then you can learn about running a full node. You can learn about the costs and the warnings. You have here, yes, the Linux instructions, but you also have the Windows instructions, Mac OS, information about upgrading Bitcoin Core, information about the network configuration and configuration tuning that might seem a little complex at first. But installing Bitcoin, I would say, is relatively straightforward, like installing most programs. The biggest concern is making sure that you have the space requirements. And then the configuration, is something that you can, spend time exploring, watching YouTube videos about, and then going down that path if that interests you. Although simply installing the program is going to get you that much further into the blockchain technology space and allowing you to participate more on the servicing and receiving benefits from the Bitcoin network. And so Bitcoin, the full node for running Bitcoin, you can get a full copy of this from bitcoin.org. And so you can go to the Windows instructions and you can, simply click on the Bitcoin Core download page. And then you can go over there and you can download Bitcoin Core for whatever your operating system that is listed here. But, if something happens to Bitcoin Core and they're the only people who are, a centralized source of providing this software, well, a centralized source and providing a decentralized software is definitely a point of weakness, because if anything happens to Bitcoin Core, it's going to be difficult for future people to get a legitimate copy of the Bitcoin software for them to run, right? If something happens to this website, if something happens to this, organization of people. And so at the same time that we have bitcoin.org providing the Bitcoin Core version of the Bitcoin blockchain, we also have Bitcoin Knots at bitcoinknots.org, not spelled Knots. And so Bitcoin Knots is simply a derivative of Bitcoin Core since December 2011, with a collection of improvements backported from and sometimes maintained outside the master Git tree. And so they have more details and information on this that you can read at the website bitcoinknots.org. But again, the reason Bitcoin Knots is really interesting and the reason why Bitcoin Knots is really beneficial is because it provides a competitor to Bitcoin Core. It provides an alternative to Bitcoin Core where you can still run the Bitcoin blockchain without necessarily having to depend fully on the Bitcoin Core organization and the way of doing things. Now, the use of Bitcoin Knots is, as with Bitcoin Core, always at your own risk, and so you really need to check out the software, test the software. I still recommend that you have, cold storage wallets, paper wallets, Ledger Nano S's, Trezors, all of those higher level, deeper security features for storing your Bitcoin. But at the same time, the Bitcoin Knots are the connection to the blockchain. The Bitcoin Knots is the blockchain itself, when you're downloading that from Bitcoin Knots or from Bitcoin Core. So it's, you have to understand why are you using the tool? What is the purpose of the tool? What is the intent of the tool? And so the intent of the node isn't necessarily storing large amounts of wealth, because if the node gets hacked, then if your computer gets hacked, it's just like having a Jax wallet. It doesn't matter if it's a Jax wallet or a Bitcoin Core wallet. If your machine gets hacked, then your wallet could be compromised. And so you want to be really careful about how you're storing your mass wealth. So with the Bitcoin Core, blockchain wallet, there are several different features. And so it's, awesome when you have the full blockchain downloaded and when you're using that as a wallet, because it's perfect privacy for receiving transactions. Because with the Bitcoin full node, you are downloading every single transaction that ever has existed and is existing. And so when you're receiving every single transaction, it's impossible to say which of those transactions are yours, because you receive every transaction that exists. For sending transactions, there's very strong privacy for sending transactions, although it's not perfect privacy like receiving transactions. And we'll save why that is for a different video, or you can dive deeper in these show notes down here below. Also, the Bitcoin full node is compatible with Tor, and so people who are looking for Tor privacy and the benefits of using a Tor browser, then they're able to use the Bitcoin Core full node with the Tor browser, as well as Bitcoin Core having the feature of allowing decentralized peer discovery. So you're not depending on one organization for sourcing the original blockchain, which is the actual blockchain. With a Jax wallet, you're trusting the Jax decentral organization, and that the node that they're pointing to is the actual Bitcoin BTC blockchain that was originally started by Satoshi Nakamoto, which is, however the heck we define, right? There's so many caveats with Bitcoin Cash folks trying to overtake the name of Bitcoin BTC. That's really adds on to the confusion, the fear, the uncertainty, then the doubt. That's why I have a lot of problems with the Bitcoin Cash in the community. But with that being said, Bitcoin Cash is here to stick around. Bitcoin Cash is not Bitcoin BTC. And so the point with this is that when you download the Bitcoin Core wallet and presumably the Bitcoin Knots wallet, these allow us to have the decentralized peer discovery. So we're not, depending on Bitcoin Core to tell us which is the actual Bitcoin blockchain. Additionally, there's, having this better security does have additional costs, because you're going to need to run this system. But at the same time, you're going to be supporting Bitcoin. You're going to be supporting the Bitcoin network. You're going to be making Bitcoin stronger, more resilient. Even though you won't be providing a lot of additional hash power from just your PC, you will be helping to validate the network and creating an additional decentralized location in the world, which is one additional piece that makes up a percentage of 100%, right? You are a percentage of that 100%. And so, even if it's a very, 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 very small percentage, the fact is that you are still a part of the community. You're still a part of the network. You're still a part of the process. And that's a huge benefit for you and a huge benefit for everyone a part of Bitcoin. So we keep on talking about the costs, and we keep on talking about the risks. And so it's really important to know that wallet responsibility checklist. And so part of this checklist is for you to back up your keys. Part of this checklist is for you to make sure that your wallet is secure. Part of this checklist, as we were saying before, is to make sure that you have an offline wallet, a cold storage wallet, to store your mass wealth so everything isn't on your one computer. That would be a huge risk. Keeping update on the security notifications. If you need to update your software, normally you want to update your software, like your browser and your operating system, because you want to prevent your operating system and your browser from having the old versions of that code, which have potential exploits on that code. The same thing goes for the core code as that gets updated in Git, and then there's new updates for you to download to keep up on the latest security notifications. Allow your heirs to receive your Bitcoins if you die or become incapacitated. Lots of Bitcoins in this world have been lost. Lots of wives and husbands who are rich in this world with Bitcoin, but if their spouse dies, then they don't know what they're going to do with them, or how they're going to access it. You also need to be aware of like the legal risks and just making sure that it's legal for you to be running Bitcoin software. I mean, it's crazy that numbers can be illegal and that software can be illegal, but nevertheless, you want to definitely pay attention to your local laws and whatnot. And then with the system requirements, you got to make sure your computer can handle the system requirements with running Bitcoin. And so part of the issues that a lot of people have with Bitcoin Cash, part of the issues that I have with Bitcoin Cash is that Bitcoin Cash wants to, or has increased the total block size. By increasing the total block size in Bitcoin Cash, it's making it more difficult for more people to have the bandwidth, expectations to send and receive the more massive amounts of data that are, being pushed through potentially a full block for Bitcoin Cash. And so fewer people, as Bitcoin Cash hypothetically gets fuller and fuller, fewer people are going to be able to run the Bitcoin Cash full node, people like common people like you or I, because it's going to require so much more in terms of the bandwidth. As we see here, Bitcoin BTC is requiring at least 5 gigabytes per day, which is over 150 gigabytes per month. We see the total disk space is 145 gigabytes on your disk. The downloads 500 megabytes a day. The memory requirements 1 gig, which I think most people have. System requirements, basic, 1 gigahertz computer. I think most people have that as well. Operating system, Windows 7, 8. 10, Mac OS, Linux, most people have that. So the biggest issues here aren't the memory, aren't the system, aren't the operating system or the processor. The biggest issues here are going to be the total disk space. So, making sure 145 gigs might seem like a lot, 245 gigs might seem like a lot, but if you have a lot of video, if you have a lot of other softwares on your machine, you got to think the operating system alone, it's just going to swell up and take 100 gigs of your computer. So if you have a 250 gig computer, you're only going to have 145 gigabytes left after you have your operating system and some software and some files. And so, and it's really not 145 gigs. It's really a lot more because this is a little bit old and the blockchain is growing. It is expanding. So that's something to keep in mind. So you want to make sure you have a half a terabyte, maybe a terabyte of space to have all the space. You want to make sure you have the bandwidth requirements. And both of these, all three of these top three here would be more difficult with the, running a Bitcoin Cash full node. Interesting stuff. And then once you're there, then you can go through, the bitnodes.earn.com. You can check out all the nodes in the world. You can see that there's currently over 10,000 Bitcoin BTC nodes globally distributed across the world. We have 27.5% of those in the United States. We have 17% of those in Germany. Let's say 6.8% of those in France, and only 6.75 of those in China. Those are rough percentages right there. But it's interesting to see that China, although they account for the majority of hash power in the world, they are only fourth in the number of nodes that are showing up. In terms of the ones that are reachable on this map right here. Definitely very interesting. Other resources that might help you run a Bitcoin full node would be the Bitcoin wiki, where you can learn more about Bitcoin and commands and running a full node and whatnot. There is this GitHub page from JLop. That's a Bitcoin Core config generator that's going to help you configure your Bitcoin Core wallet. This was something that helped me, with mine, because, showing you my computer up here. My computer has, so I have 2 drives in my computer. And so I have this one computer that has 237, or this one drive in my computer that has 237 gigabytes. And then I have my other drive in my computer that has, 1.8 terabytes. And so I didn't have enough space, as I was saying before, on my 256, drive. And so I had to install it in my C drive, because that's where the programs get installed. And then this is where this data is. And so when you're looking for where it gets installed, if you go to your PC, your C drive, users, your name, app data, roaming, you can see the Bitcoin folder. And so normally everything gets put in this folder. And if I would have put everything in this folder, then I would not have had enough space to download the entire Bitcoin blockchain. And so what I was able to do in my config file is simply to define my config file to reference the full blockchain in the other file. It's super, super simple. And how I was able to do that was through this, through this GitHub Bitcoin Core config generator, which, has all of these different options, can definitely help you get that done. And so real quick, I just check out my properties over here, just to see how big the all the data is, for the blockchain data, not counting the system files that I'm using to run Bitcoin, but just looking at the blockchain folder. We are at 155 gigabytes of data. And so where were we? Over here when it said 145 gigabytes of data. So this is 10 gigabytes. This was 10 gigabytes ago. We're now at 155 gigabytes. And so a lot of people are online. I see, images in Facebook or whatnot, people talking about how you need terabytes of data to download Bitcoin, a full node. It's just 155 gigs. So don't let anyone tell you otherwise. Again, in your security, you guys just got to be careful when you're running these nodes that, again, you don't have everything on, all your eggs in one basket. Definitely go over the wallet responsibility checklist. I think this is really, really important for everybody because people are at huge risk of hacking. People are at huge risk of losing their cryptocurrencies. Let me just say, I don't have any cryptocurrencies on my computer. I have everything offline, deep, we don't do trading, we don't do anything like that. And so, it's really risky, right? Computers are compromised all the time. If your computer is running Windows or Skype or, there's just all these different programs that have security exploits, and there's just too much risk with, having your cryptocurrency on a computer, right? It's like, you might have a little bit, but I definitely want to have everything on there. We just hear every few months, someone getting targeted, specifically or not. This is just a really common expectation, is that there's going to be hackers seeking to target your funds. We know that there's malware that gets installed in people's machines that automatically look for people when they copy and paste a Bitcoin or Ethereum address, and will replace that address in the clipboard with the attacker's address. So, people who are not suspecting, people who are not paying attention, people who are not verifying the addresses from the time that they look at it and when they copy it and when they paste it, they're losing their funds because they're not going through that due diligence. And so it's just something that everyone needs to pay attention about. Because what is this about? Because this is about personal responsibility. That's what Bitcoin is. That's what blockchain technology is. A lot of people are seeking, they will like chargebacks. If they send the money to the wrong place or if they get hacked, you want someone to come bail you out. You want someone to come and just fix everything and just make everything better. But the risk with having someone who can just come and fix everything and make everything better is that you don't have that total privacy. You don't have that total freedom. You assume huge amounts of risk, as we've seen so many examples in the financial system, in the political justice system, in the criminal justice system, as it is now. And so with having this additional freedom, with having additional responsibility, with having this additional opportunity with both Bitcoin and blockchain technology, and what many of these ERC20 tokens or additional blockchain technologies and even some of these distributed ledger technologies are going to be providing, what this means is that we want to understand, what are we responsible for? What are we accountable for? Who is a part of the community, in the community, who is there to help us? Who is the community to help bring people good information, to share good information, to bring people together? And then how do you have that mental focus, that emotional intuition, that clarity of separating the fear and the uncertainty and the doubt, which is seeking to separate you and your money from, from I suppose, making clear decisions, making intentional decisions, and making decisions that are going to benefit you in the long run. So, yeah, with that being said, thanks for showing up and being part of this show. Thanks for learning about Bitcoin Core full nodes and Bitcoin NOTs full nodes as well. Thanks for being part of this post-Thanksgiving Day Bitcoin discussion. If any of this information was helpful for you, definitely tap that like button. It helps other people find this information. It's really supportive and encouraging for us to help continue making these videos. At the same time, if you have any thoughts or questions, definitely put those in the comments box below. We want to continue this discussion and really want you to be part of this discussion and contributing to what we are all learning about together with what's happening in the industry. And if you'd like to join us at mintingcoins.com, feel free to join us over there. And if you are not able to pay for the membership, then feel free to make an account at mintingcoins.com, shoot us an email, and we can upgrade your account for free if you're one of the first 500 new subscribers over at our website to help support us and help support our channel and to help contribute to us providing this information so we can not rely 100% on the sponsored videos, and we can just have more of more accountability from all of the individual contributors who are supporting us and who are a part of this channel, who are part of this community, who are part of this industry, and who are seeking to just massively grow the awareness and our personal positions in this new industrial order. So with that being said, thanks for sticking around, and we'll have more videos on the way. Until then, I'm glad that together we are minting coins.